Hello, hi guys, thank you for joining us. So the topic is gonna be mostly on to buy the traffic or build a brand. It's an ongoing discussion every time, which is best to go first, investment in upfront traffic or building a long-term strategy. Here we have a panel that's seeing parts of the industry from both sides and from this different perspectives. So maybe I can pass on for the introductions even better what you guys do.
Hi, I'm Chema, and some of you know me, the Doctor SEO. And apart from SEO, I'm also working on general growth strategies, working a lot on brand protection and brand awareness, and even working now with influencers, streamers to increase this brand knowledge and brand exposure.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander, and I'm currently working for Bragg Gaming Group, the role of a head of affiliate marketing. I've been in industry for 10 years. First part of my career in iGaming, I worked for one of the biggest affiliates called House Gamblers, and now I switched to provider side. So I would say that I have quite a good insight in correlationship between affiliates and studios.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma and I'm working at Gen2 Media where I'm currently the director of publishing. And I've been in the industry for about 10 plus years.
Hi, my name is Vitaly. I'm founder and brand growth engineer at Gear Agency. We do TikTok brand awareness media campaigns, streamers, influencers, and a couple other stuff. So yeah, our focus is building brands in iGaming.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So let's kick it off. So we usually always try to push for both an overall marketing strategy, but if you have a new brand with limited budget, which would be of the two channels to take priority?
Well, from my perspective, it's very important to understand what is the market and what is the product you're offering. If you have an operator, then I would say yes, definitely push for brands because operators, they will feed themselves with brand awareness, and you just need to constantly make that grow. Of course, it's important also to try to buy some traffic, but I think that the brand lately and in the future is going to become the priority for operators. If we're talking about an affiliate or even a business to business, my thoughts is the way Google search is evolving, it will take a lot of time to generate this brand awareness. And I would suggest to start paying traffic and buying traffic because otherwise you're never going to get return on investment.
I think that I just thought, why you have limit budget if you go to a game, and it's kind of strange. I mean, why? What are you doing here with limited budget? But okay, it's life. No one is like billionaire. So think first. I would advise things first. But secondly, for business, you always start with performance because you need to analyze how your product works, conversions, all this kind of stuff, how your retention works, blah, blah, blah. But still, if you have limited budgets, okay, it's a fair story. It can happen. Think about how you're going to be different from others, because if you have limited budgets, if you want to just to go open your partner program and just start inviting random affiliates without doing anything differently by building brand, you're lost, even if you have unlimited budget, because if you don't doing something special, well, there's no much room for your growth. So yeah, that's the thought.
I totally agree. I mean, if you don't have a unique selling point, and once you have it, you need to
Yeah.
exposure and visibility to that, so it gets to your target audience.
You gotta have something, because if you don't have budget and you don't have something special, well, I have a bad news for you.
You won't survive, right? You won't survive.
Yeah. The game won't last long for sure.
Then better invest in real estate.
Yeah. Buy a boat and have fun.
Awesome. So we see that the CPM and the CPC are rising across every paid channel. At what point does buying traffic becomes unsustainable like in iGaming?
Alex, I think this is one for you. No, go for it.
Well, I would come back to the previous and then try to follow up on this one. So you both mentioned potentially how I understood it from a perspective of an operator, but here I'm standing as a provider. So for us, it's a bit a different story. Yes, it does start first of all with what do you offer. If you know what you have, then you need to think of where you can find these people, and then when you see who are you looking for, then you need to find a way how to find them. So in this case, when you have a strategy, I would always start first as a branding, because if you don't know how to present yourself adequately, and then you have to start first with branding activities and then slowly introducing the performance based, and then, as you said, you can investigate and see how people are reacting on these touch points, that and then you can, as slowly as you grow, you can introduce much more money involved in the
That's true.
performance marketing. And from my experience, it depends. You can get great results with a minimum investment. It really comes down to the way how you create these marketing campaigns and what are the points that you would like to highlight. If it's a pure traffic based, which is for most of the cases for the operators, then practically as much as you invest, you can hope to get back. For providers, it's not like that, because it's a really saturated market. There are so many games being produced every day. So, and for regular players, most of them are looking the same. So you really need to do bottom the research to understand why this game would be potentially interested with someone, and then starting it with some ads. I think that would be a wrong approach. It's better to have some sort of already touch points for them on the channels that they are already active and following, such as streamers, community influencers, whatever of these other channels there are. And when they see the ad, then they will kind of recognize it, not other way around. But as I said, this applies for games and game studios.
I I kind of disagree because obviously you have much more experience in the sector. But for me, for business to business providers, it's important on a marketing sense to really build brand, to bring your stand to a papa or to give visibility. But with regards to traffic, I don't think people is going to search your brand until you do these marketing activities. And how will they know your brand? Either because you give the exposure or either because you pay the traffic. If you try to rank through SEO for white label casino software provider, unless you invest millions, you're never going to outrank, the big giants. So if you have a small brand, I say better push a bit the paid traffic, and with that, maybe you will start generating an audience. Obviously, also marketing activities, but not really directed to the traffic or to brand exposure.
I think that's really interesting, right? So we're all kind of saying the same thing. We're saying like ultimately we're all saying build the brand, but first we're saying you need the paid traffic, right? As the initial kickstart or like the firepower to your engine. But from there, like the brand is what's going to drive the car going forward, and it's it's going to keep people coming back to you rather than paid, which is just going to get you, say, off the ground or out there initially.
So it's something that we discussed even on the call. And during, we said that even though you can prioritize buying traffic, SEO still needs to be on the back of your mind as a infrastructure.
I mean, definitely, when you are building a brand, despite operator, affiliate, even a B2B provider, affiliates, obviously, they will think on SEO from a starting point because that's the business. But some operators, some business to business providers, they start thinking about building a website. They build a product, and after 6 months, they decide, okay, now is the time to start investing on SEO. But then you will find the roots of the company, which is the website, that it's not SEO optimized. It could now, in the era of large language models, it could even face that it's not crawlable and readable by large language models. Technical SEO used to be quite easy a few years ago. You just check how Google sees your website, and if it sees, then good. If it doesn't, then you need to optimize. But nowadays, we have every week we find new large language models. They will all crawl in a different way your website. So you need to ensure that your website is super easy to read for any different type of crawlers, because they will all have a different approach And it becomes very, very important that from the beginning of a project, if you don't have resources to hire an SEO for the first amount of months, at least take consultancy, take advice on how we need to prepare this. So at least when we decide to push for SEO, we are ready and we have a sustainable surface, a sustainable website.
Yeah, and I would like to add, if you don't mind, that apart to technical SEO, basically SEO is like ocean of things that you can do, and even with keyword optimization, because you can optimize with like online casino or like some which like you will never get easier to these simple requests. Maybe you can get some chance in long tails, but when you're launching a brand, at least you first of all you want to be sure, like you want your people to search for your brand. So at least people stop typing your brand name in Google. At least you should start with this. So when they say blah 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 like casino or like blah blah bet something, they find your brand, and then you start to challenge with those casinos which were already on the markets for years and they invested in keywords. So you find these like blue oceans, if you say, if you wish it, no to go to red zones, to at least get some kind of share. But of course, I super agree with Chema that you should prepare all your infrastructure, all your technical side to be sure you're ready for early stages, one for growth. Because if you start looking, then now we start doing SEO as you told, then you lost. But you should plan it out.
It especially happens with business to business providers that they come after 1 year or 2 years of existing. They already invested a lot on brand exposure, but as you mentioned, they could be branded search for their terms, but their website it's either not crawlable or they have like infinite videos and banners that takes 10 or 15 seconds to client that they were like high development company, super powerful. We do perfect systems, and their website was so slow. I was saying like, how are you trying to sell your product if when you open your website it takes 15 seconds to load, and you are selling that your developers do a super fantastic job.
Not everything is perfect.
As an affiliate, I could say we really enjoy when companies make these mistakes because we make out really well, especially if it's an operator or if it's like a game or it's a provider. So we do really well from when other people make mistakes. So very happy.
I wanted to ask one question for the audience. How many of you are affiliates here? Raise your hand, please. Okay. And how many operators? And the rest is B2B providers.
Operators don't walk away.
Operators
Don't walk away after the
Yeah,
conversation.
it's quite equal. Why did I ask this? Because Emma is practically right. When I joined Bragg, one of the projects that we initiated back then was that our website was not optimized well for this segment of the business. Because Bragg is a gaming group, so they have a couple of verticals. And for the vertical that I joined, I had a problem because if we are going to do branding, which we started doing after I arrived, I had an issue. Whoever landed on our website, they were not navigating them quite easily. And in this case, it's mostly B2B because as a publicly listed company, we don't do directly B2C. So we do that through affiliates and other influencers, streamers, etc. So that was the core of the issue. So if we do correctly our own SEO, definitely they will help us out to raise awareness around our brand, and then we can further invest in relationship with affiliates and streamers, etc.
Exactly. And especially also operators, when we were talking about mistakes, sometimes they find new casino brands that they invest a lot on brand exposure. They come to these events and they spend a lot of resources in giving exposure. And then you quickly check and you see that their website is like not optimized. And if there is any naughty SEO in the room, they will say, wow, this is my chance to get all this traffic to some Asian shady casino. Yay!
Awesome. So, a question that might change from the subject of SEO as well. Which channel is currently the most undervalued opportunity in iGaming? Organic search, creator-led, paid media, CRM retention, or the community base?
I'll go with TikTok, obviously, because we're doing, but I think it's from what I see, especially in conferences, because the majority of people who buy traffic from affiliate side, they're affiliates, and they used to think with CPAs, models, kind of stuff, and not a lot of people are ready to think about brand awareness campaigns, because they help you. They help your recognition. They increase your search again. More people type in your brand name to the Google. It affects your CPA campaigns as well, because they see you on TikTok, they see you on Instagram, these vertical videos, and then they recognize when you see like a Facebook ad or like you on some affiliate site, stuff like this. So it's still over focus on performance. Sometimes it's actually yes, the relevant point to this topic. So over focus on performance is sometimes it seems obvious, but it's not, because you also should invest for a brand, because it's not like the only way to grow, and I think that's missed a lot of times.
So I wanted to say that what I see as a problem here is that people are usually looking at these channels as one versus another. But if we look back, if we start from a branding perspective, as I said it at the beginning, and then you realize that all of these channels are actually working in your favor, they just might not work at the exact same time, and that might be the problem, because all of these channels are having a different audience, different level of knowledge of people who are following them, and definitely a different approach. And it's really hard to handle all of them at the same time, especially if we start for the smaller businesses when they have one
Super agree,
person
yes,
in
yes,
team
yes.
or etc. So in that case, again, it brings back the strategy. So do you target first the completely newbies, or do you want to use already existing channels like affiliates, communities, forums, where you can find people who understand business, well, who understand games in this case, so you can serve them something that they already know about, so you practically start battling between your competitors why this game is better or not. Or you go, as some of you suggested here, if you are new, straight to the performance-based, push it everywhere, and then from my end, hope for the best, but it might not be the case for others.
And
From my perspective, the most underrated channels at the moment is UGC, user-generated content. We all know it has been there. We all know that nobody will go reading thousands and thousands of posts on Reddit. But now we have the large language models. They read everything, you know. They have huge crowd budgets. And if you have a casino and your brand is mentioned in a negative way in all these forums, in all these websites, large language models will take this, will keep it in their index, and when they are being asked, is this site good or bad? Well, they will feel that 90% of the comments, they are complaints, because you don't complain when you're happy, you only complain when you're angry. So user-generated content needs to be a lot more taken care, not only by operators, also business-to-business providers. We can spend a lot of money, a lot of resources on bringing exposure, stands, marketing actions. It's so easy to just generate some user-generated content talking about your brand. And like that, you will give exposure not to the people, because your customers will not read all these forums, etc. But large language models, they will do. And like that, if the large language models are asked about your brand, they will find out a lot of resources, hopefully saying that you
Running community-based sites, not to name Ask Ambers again, but sites like Ask Ambers, people are using that for information, and people are actually going there to search about a casino, about an operator, about a game, to see what their reviews are, positive or negative. Of course, more often than not, people like to complain and people like to bitch. So they'll, of course, go in, write whatever they're feeling. It will be read by whoever. But I said that UGC community, to me, it's the same. And you're taking care of it in the same way.
And that's a good example of how many brands are not using forums or communities, depending where they do. Especially because when you get a complaint, of course, it depends on the complaint, but you need to have a representative out there to help them out. So, for example, we've done a couple of campaigns with Name the website. I'm joking, with Us Gamblers. And then we got a couple of really interesting nicknames for our games, which are not positive. And it's fine, because it's an opinion of 1, 2, 3, or whatever number of people. Because as you said, people are bitching more
so
more often than they are praising. But then again, you start interacting with them. So this comes back to, again, it's really hard. It depends how deep you want to go. But I start communicating with those people. So of course, then they realize that, brand is not a single game, especially how many games are out there. So after 1, 2, or 3 games, they changed their opinion and they gave us another nickname. So this is like from a completely negative thing. With a month or 2 of work, we completely changed the aspect. Some of them, they still don't prefer maybe our brand, but they still play it whenever we do some sort of a campaign with them, which I think it's a huge success looking at from a perspective of performance-based. It's not maybe directly advertisement on some channels, but again, it's not cheap
No, of
to
course.
work it in any communities and forum, but still it brings results and it brings feedback, which is even better than just click that you get. Because sometimes that's why I said it depends what expensive means. You can pay some sort of activity quite high, but the outcome that you are getting, it's not always the money, but also the feedback that you can acquire that can help you out in the future.
It's a good thing. I want to note. So you have 2 good outcomes here. First one, they still remember your game, even if it's bad. Like YouTube, like and dislike equals for
They play it and they say it's bad, but they play it.
but they play it exactly.
give it a
That's good.
chance.
It's much better than unknown, so it's already a win. And second thing, I just thought about it. You learned something about your audience. You understood what they're looking at, what they value, what they appreciate or not. And answering your question, Brandon, maybe understanding your audience is something goes. We're speaking about traffic sources, like blah, 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 technical stuff, but maybe human thing, understanding why they play your game. And if they hated something, how you managed to do right, you made them to love your game. So this gives you like a precious insight about why people play in this, and this is much more valuable than like few FTDs or something like this,
I shared a manual example, but there are with advanced technology that we have now, you can get a faster and a larger example of the.
Yeah,
But this one gave me the insight that I needed. So when you get like to the bottom and when you start talking with them, and then they start tagging you whenever they have a question, then you have to hire assistants, etc. But but they play. But the point is that they play the games that they wouldn't if you wouldn't interfere or tried, interacted, etc.
Nice.
Awesome, because we're running. I think we have some more questions, but maybe we can take from the public. Any have questions with what we covered so far?
I think everyone's enjoying our conversations.
Vamos, don't be shy.
It's been maybe covered everything,
We have more.
What's the question? Wait. They give me a mic, I think.
He's Balkan. He doesn't need one. He can shout.
Yep, can you hear me? Yes. Besides paid media and organic strategies that you are using to build the brand, are you relying as well on off-page digital PR campaigns for your brand? Can it help? Because you mentioned everything, but besides the digital PR that can guide your brand as well, besides SEO, if you cannot manage, maybe this can help visibility and online presence.
I think digital PR, it's critical. And you need to do it in a very particular way. I think the old school link building strategies we used to follow, they are no longer profitable. Once again, we need to go depending on the product that you have. I mean, if you have an operator, then definitely yes. Your article saying that your operator, it's very good, it became top 10 last year, or it has innovative whatever, unique selling points, as we were talking. If you are an affiliate, well, if we are talking about a big affiliate, we're talking about Us Gamblers, we're talking about Casino Guru, then yes, of course, because you already built a brand. If you have a new affiliate, Casino Top 5, that there is not really brand awareness about it, people will not search for you. So either you have a huge budget to build that brand, either I would say it's not the most productive use of your resources to invest in digital PR.
What I would also say is, also to consider whether you're a casino or sports, because sports more so easily lends itself to digital PR. And for a casino, I mean, we've seen where we've had great campaigns and they've actually destroyed websites because Google is suddenly seeing all of these links and all of this traffic just to one particular page. And it's not sustainable, right? It's because people forget PR campaigns, they forget, and it stops being in it stops being in news, it stops being in top stories. So then suddenly there's all this one-time traffic, one-time hits, and then it doesn't spread across the website. It doesn't bring any long-term value. It's not bringing you FTDs. So then what was the point, or what's the ROI?
Well, I mean, going back to the large language models area, I think that you generate all these articles talking about your brand, and that really can have repercussion, because if you create 20, 40, 100 articles with a digital PR campaign, that will be crawled, that will be indexed, and that information will be kept by the large language models, which then they will process towards your customers. So I do see a value there, but again, needs to depend on your product and budget.
Yeah, I think the direct answer to the question is yes, but more complex answer is like digital PR is very broad area, so you can vary depending on your product, depending on the type. For example, if you're operator, I like the example we discussed yesterday about Paddy Power, what they do in Twitter regarding sports betting, what they do about British football. Wow, they look cool, but they do it like this. For example, the recent case I liked, duel with these bad live casino dealers who do some stupid stuff. This is beautiful PR. But so for operators, it's one way. But if you're a B2B provider, like game provider or something, you need to be more creative, because the LinkedIn becomes the field, and then you do collaborations, you go to podcasts, you go speaking, and it's also kind of digital PR, because the key here is what do you do, and digital is how you distribute it, with channels. So yeah, but it's like again another ocean that can be done way differently in all the different cases.
Answer from my point, yes, definitely, especially for the B2B activities, since the aim there is actually to present yourself for other partners, in this case, operators and affiliates. If they see you, the same applies to B2C. This is one of the touch points. So instead of you just jumping and do cold calling, call emailing, or running them on the conferences without them knowing you at all, if you are new or even mid-size, this helps a lot, because then, of course, as you said, you need to have something interesting to communicate that will bring their attention to, and then that PR is bringing high value potential leads when you actually start reaching out to people or at the conference, because they heard about either product, either project, or something interesting that you had to share or say. So definitely.
Awesome. So we just go.
Quick question, another. Have you recent cases of efficient, quick, without huge budget of launches, either casino affiliate? So you could honestly say these guys did everything right. We can learn from them.
Yes, we have case, for example. It depends. What do you mean not big budget? It's still you gotta pay something. But for example, we have a case. We have good case since we did running media campaigns on TikTok, like media networks on TikTok. We increase Google search requests. So we made one brand top 15 most searched brand in Poland by making them popular over social media. And we recently increased one brand in Portugal from 3% for 6%, like recognition share. So it's still like this.
Yeah, sorry. What's the brands so we can analyze them?
No, it's under NDA. I don't want to share this brand. We did it. So yeah.
Excuse me?
I cannot say the name because it's under NDA.
Anybody from the panel can share brands? Sneak peek.
I'm going to intercede here for Emma, but I've been always a big fan of Us Gamblers. As some of you who check traffic metrics, Us Gamblers was a great product 10 years ago, started going down and down. They have old SEO strategies which they did not work 5 years ago. In fact, the product was sold from a big company to another big company, and these guys who have like outstanding SEOs, who are a reference for myself, they managed to refloat it, and currently they do have a product which, as Emma was saying, it's focused on also user-generated content, building forums. So it was a product that 5 years before large language models, it was prepared for large language models. So I believe this kind of product, which obviously they have huge budget, it could be a reference for what I think the future of affiliation should be.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Last question, because we're running close. So, with the current status of the marketing scene, what separates the winners in iGaming growth? Bigger acquisition budgets or stronger brands?
I think it's always like a combination, because basically your budget and your money is like amplificator of your growth, and to grow you need something to amplify. It cannot be like 1-0-0. You cannot build brand without performance, and you cannot performance build without. Okay, you can perform for a while without strong brand, and you will have some like maybe a good ROI, but long term, like no. So I think it's all like healthy combination. At the end, the key, it will never stay the same, this breakdown, because on every different path of your brand growth, of your business growth, you will change it, like a bit more there, a bit more there, but then it depends on your quick and then long-term goal, or short-term and long-term goals.
Yeah, I think the key is to stay adaptable. There'll be times when you need to maybe invest more into PPC. There'll be more times when you need to invest in your brand because something has happened. You've got something to shout about or whatever. So the key is to stay adaptable, look at what you have available to you, and then optimize depending on what's going on in the market or what you're seeing from your data.
Well, from my angle, investing more money makes sense when people can actually take something from that. In this case, if it's just a click, then it stays there. But if they take something more, and that is always correlated with the branding, then you have a reasonable, then you have actually a good reason to invest more, because beside the click, they're taking something else. Again, depending on the strategy, what you set and what you would like, but this is a win-win situation from my side.
My reply is very simple. Yes, invest money. An investor in the room, invest money. The more you invest, the better the results.
Awesome. Yeah, that runs the time. Thank you for joining us. If you want to contact the guys, the names are there. And have a wonderful conference. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.